All right, what's going on? I'm doing good. How you doing? How's your New Year?
New Year was good. I fell asleep like 1 minute after. So I was pumped. I put a couple of small videos on Snapchat and then I was good.
Yeah, I fell asleep about 12:30, and I had to get up and then go to work. So I had to be at work at like 6:30 this morning. I had like 5 hours sleep because it's cool, my normal stuff. So I was a little tired. Came home, kind of relaxed for a little bit. Started watching the Alabama and Michigan game, which is pretty cool. But I'm gonna start a little bit with grind my gears a little bit, little grind my gears segment. Okay,
All right, all right.
it's New Year's Day. Now it's bad enough we already had the college football playoff games already, and the whole playoff and the bowl games and some. When it's New Year's Day, you want. I have a tradition. I'm traditionalist. So when New Year's morning, if I wasn't working, especially if I was in California, I'm gonna wake up and while my family watches the Rose Parade, I'll watch a little bit of that. I'm gonna turn on the Cotton Bowl. I'm gonna watch the Cotton Bowl. Normally, that's the first game to kick off the bowl day. Between that, and you end with with the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and sometimes New Year's Eve you'd have the Orange Bowl, but I know they kind of changed all that. So I turn on the game. I see the Winter Classic. I'm okay. The Winter Classic. That's cool. It's a new thing, and they've been doing it for a few years now. Where are they at this year? They were in Fenway. They're at Wrigley one year. Figured, okay, they're doing baseball stadiums, other than arenas. Maybe they'll do some football stadiums. I turn it on, and they're in the Cotton Bowl. I said, what the heck is going on here? Why is the Cotton Bowl is using it as a hockey rink? Nah,
It'd
it's
be
cool.
different. I completely feel you. It'd be different. Like if you're like an inaugural league and you're trying to like get that big kickoff, like the greatest. Like if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the first Super Bowl in Yankee Stadium?
That or Wrigley. I'm not quite sure. But I
I'd
mean,
have to look that back up.
I have to look it up. But I get it. I mean, the Bears used to play at Wrigley. The Raiders just ended their season in Oakland where the A's played. They're gonna go to a true football stadium next year. But it's just the skeptical. Like it's the Cotton Bowl. You can't give me
Yeah,
a
I get
football.
it.
You can't get me a football game.
Oh
But
wait,
the
I said Super Bowl. I meant the first like true AFL NFL game that they had. If I'm not mistaken, that was in Yankee Stadium. It was a big thing back then.
but I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Look up right now.
I just forget what two teams played. I know they played at Yankee Stadium. I'm just trying to remember what game they played.
So they had the Cotton Bowl. The Cotton Bowl game was on December, technically last year,
Yeah.
December 28th. Memphis got whooped by Penn State. You couldn't tell me you couldn't put that game on. It's not a title game. You couldn't put that game on. Like, what is going on? That's why there's too many bowl games. Number one, no, there should be six.
Okay, but then that takes all the other schools out of being able to
And do what?
boosting their program.
Do what? Half the people don't even play anymore because they don't want to mess up their draft status.
Right, but if you look at the small schools, the kids still play. What I honestly miss, I know everybody likes to talk about the Power Five conferences. What happened to when I really hate to take it back to a time when it was really negative, but in that time, this wasn't a negative in a negative time period when the black schools were actually powerhouses. What happened to that?
Well,
All these schools that were powerhouses back in the day are now all basically in D2.
that's just money. I mean, look, I'm a traditionalist, right? We got the Rose Bowl coming up. That's packed 12, 10, whatever they were against the Big Ten. That's your
Big Ten.
traditionalist, right? Orange Bowl is ACC versus I forget who else. Um,
Well, it was the Big East.
Right. And then you got the Sugar Bowl is always the SEC champion. Right. They're always in there. But it's like they got to have all these national championship games in college. I mean, it's great for money. It's all money thing, though.
Yeah.
It's money thing. I mean, the national championship game is playing on an NFL stadium. What does that tell you?
That they're getting ready for their future.
I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't know, I'm a traditionalist, but I'm gonna get off my soapbox for a little bit. So, you know, we in a we in a new decade now. If you get people to talk about decades, they're saying decade don't start till next year because decade start at one. Some people say it starts now because every 10 years, but technically we never started at zero, so it should be starting in 2021, the new decade. But
Well, I mean, I guess if you counted the year 2000 to 2001 was one, and then to two, and then to three, then to four, then to five, six, seven, eight, nine. So from 2000 to 2009 was 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I don't know.
And then 2010 to 2019 was 10 years.
Hey, man. That's a debate for another day. I'm not here to debate you with that. It was funny when people I heard that today. Some people say technically whatever. But we're gonna change, so in that sense, we're gonna talk a little bit about in what do we want to see in sports between our teams in the next decade.
Yeah. So those of you watching and those listening, we already know what happened in the last 10 years of my teams. One of them went to a Super Bowl briefly. Arizona Cardinals were good for about a 3 to 4 year period that started this decade. And that's really about it. We've been rebuilding ever since. My Tennessee Titans tried to change their identity and then went to going back to their old identity, which they should have never left in the first place. So for the next 10 years, this is all I ask. Win, lose, or draw. Let's be who we are as an organization, always will be. We're going to be more physical than you. We're going to draft better than you. And we're going to get players that you guys see come out of nowhere. I just want to keep it original when it comes to my Titans. My Cardinals, dude, y'all about to be new age. I want to see y'all keep rolling with it. That's what I want for the next 10 years. I just want uniformity. I want everything to be exactly how it was meant to be. Arizona has always been trying to be futuristic in their moving forward. They've always tried to be next level. Tennessee Titans, I want y'all to stay old school. I want to win games 9-6 every single game. Bam, 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 bam. That's how I want Tennessee. And when we go to the Super Bowl this year, we're going to have to do that pretty much. Because we can get to the quarterback and we can run the ball. That's how you get to Super Bowls.
If you got your Super Bowl.
When?
If. So, as far as, I'm watching the Alabama-Michigan game real quick, and I saw this nasty hit. Ooh.
What's the score?
The 21-16 Alabama just scored, but Michigan been moving the ball, scoring. Second half now, so I think Alabama about to turn it up. I think Alabama's making a playing down to the competition a little bit this game because it's Michigan. So
I will say this much. In the Big Ten, Michigan has been the most physical team in that division. They're not necessarily the most talented. Now, speaking about Black Monday, right? Who is the best person for the Browns job? I mean, I really want to know your thoughts.
For the Browns job, I think honestly, Well, they need a new GM now because
That's my point.
Dorsey left.
No, he got fired.
Fired. Look, he got fired from Kansas City too. So Mr. Dorsey obviously wasn't the guy that made the Patriots what they were either. So even though he has a lot of credit for that, but for the Browns job, well, he's gonna have to come out of the booth, and I don't think he's gonna want to come out. He's gonna have to leave that CBS cushy booth, okay?
Nope. Not the guy I'm thinking of.
With the chin, you gotta shine that chin up real nice. Come out, Mr. Bill Cowher. I think Bill Cowher needs to come out of retirement.
Not for the Browns job, he won't.
I know he won't. You asked me who I think will work. Now I think it wasn't Bill. I had liked Ron Rivera, but he just went to Washington.
That's genius. So, that is the first great hire he's made since that owner has been there.
And do you know who he just took also as his defensive coordinator? Did you see who he just took?
No.
Jack Del Rio.
Smart. So,
but I mean, I don't know. For the Browns, I don't know, man. I mean, hey, look. The Browns are a nostalgia act, okay? They needed that team. That year they didn't. They went to Baltimore and became the Ravens, and we didn't have the Browns. That's like not having like the Celtics or the Lakers or well, I'm not gonna put it that way, but let's not having the Knicks, because the Knicks are like the Browns. They're always messing up. Could you imagine taking the Knicks out of basketball and it's not having Knicks?
That's not fair. Comparing a prejudice owner to
No, I'm not talking about owners. I'm talking about just the team.
The way the organization is run?
No, I'm just talking about not having that team. Just I'm not talking about owners. I'm not talking about prejudice owners. I'm not talking about anything like that. Take all that out. Just say, hey, the Knicks just straight up moved, and we don't have the Knicks no more. Just like the Browns just straight up moved to and they didn't have the Browns until 2000. And then they came as an expansion team. They took them 20 years. They're still trying to figure it out.
But at the same time, it was done unorganized. They're still unorganized. And we also have to remember this Browns team is an expansion team. This Browns team does not hold any records of the old school Rams. The last 20 years of the Cleveland Browns now is exactly what they are. They're the rebooted version of the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens were the Ernest Byners and the Bernie Kosars that all you Browns fans know back in the day.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying don't mix the two.
No, I have to, because the Baltimore's not taking credit for that stuff.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
In the record books, they do.
No, the record books are the record books. They don't need to take care of that.
Okay, that organization that was in Cleveland is now in Baltimore.
I get it. I get all that. You're missing my point. Take the organization out. Okay, I'm not talking about organization. That's okay. The organization. My point is they're a nostalgia act. Okay, you need the Browns in there because you get that fan base. It's cool to have them. You need that color. You need that orange.
I think you and me are saying the same thing from two different sides.
Well, maybe
you're saying they're a nostalgia act. I'm agreeing with you. This has nothing to do with. That's why I kept saying they're separate. They have nothing to do with the former known Cleveland Browns, now the Baltimore Ravens, who won a Super Bowl the year after they left.
All right. So
which should be a smack in the face to all the Cleveland fans.
Okay, so let me tell you this though. Before I'm gonna switch a little bit.
Okay.
If the Charlotte Hornets want to retire Larry Johnson's jersey, but they're not.
It would be the Pelicans. It wouldn't be these Hornets.
But these Hornets have all the records because Jordan took all the records with them. They gave them to him.
Oh, so he purchased it all?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, shoot.
So wouldn't the Browns purchase all those records and say, hey, here you go?
I doubt it.
But I mean, Jim Brown is a Brown, but he don't play for this Brown team. But
That's the point. The organization he was involved in and all his records are technically in Baltimore.
they're technically in Baltimore. They might be in Baltimore, but they could be in Cleveland because they worship the dude.
Just because it looks the same doesn't mean they were the same. Is my point.
But my point is this: is that they're nostalgic because they need to be there. It took them 20 years; they still ain't got it right. I'm staying to this day. I'm still staying it now. That Manziel is going to be on the bottom of that jersey, next man up soon. I don't think he's the right man for that job. Okay, he's not the right man for that job because that style. I don't know. I don't know about that style. I don't think he's the right man for that job.
What coach?
I'm talking about Manziel as far as the quarterback.
Oh, but you want to know what's funny? He might actually be the second best quarterback in that 20-year history that Cleveland now has.
Right, but he gonna be the next man on that jersey, on that famous jersey, that famous jersey. They're gonna put his name on there, and they're gonna go next man up. I don't think okay, because we're talking about decades, right?
Yeah.
Decades. Okay. This decade, John Manziel will not be Cleveland in half this year. I'm talking 5 years.
Mm.
John Manziel will not be the Cleveland quarterback.
Nope. Oh, you talking about Baker Mayfield?
I mean Baker Mayfield. Yeah, Baker Mayfield. I meant to say Mayfield. I mean Mayfield. I mean he's going to be underneath that Manziel. So he had Manziel. Now he's going to be Mayfield. I don't think Baker Mayfield going to be the next. He's the answer. I don't.
Are you saying that due to his attitude, or are you saying that due to the reports that you've read?
I haven't read anything. I'm due to his play.
Oh, okay.
Due to his play. I don't read. I don't. What you do off the field, that's you. That's you, grown man.
Okay, there is 3 coaches that could walk into Cleveland, and automatically Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback. One is a possibility. One is somebody you hate and completely disagree with and aren't even going to look at it. And the third person is a person I believe they should hire. Okay, number 1 is the Green Bay Packers old coach. He was just fired. The guy you liked. You know what I'm saying? Not Mike Holmgren. The guy who was just there who had him and A-Rod went sour.
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy. Okay, the quarterback whisperer. Even though he was no more than an offensive genius. And I'm putting quotations here for the for the people listening in. Now, Mike McCarthy will most likely get an interview for that job. Oh, yeah, the Baylor coach turned down an interview for that job. Okay, number 2. This is the guy you hate, the guy I love, the guy who I believe would turn them around right now, who will never get another chance in Cleveland, Todd Haley.
Not going to happen.
You know that, I know that. But the GM who hired him originally is fired. The president who was there is gone. Todd Haley brings a certain attitude and structure to football team. Guess what Cleveland does not have? An ideal about themselves, an attitude or structure. They're soft. That's why. They have so much talent and they ended up like this. They're soft. Now, this guy, I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense. He's an outcast. They're an outcast. He brings structure. He's a quarterback coach. He's a head coach right now in college. He has great standing in the NFL. Not only can he GM, he would be great as a head coach as well. Why is Jim Harbaugh's name not mentioned at all with these Cleveland Browns? Please tell me why.
You said Jim?
Jim Brown. Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Brown.
Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. Sorry, people. Jim Harbaugh.
Well, Because as we speak, he's the head coach of Michigan.
Well, not right now.
Yeah, he is.
And then can I also mention
Jim Harbaugh's playing Michigan right now. He's gonna leave college football to go to the pros to close to Cleveland Browns?
Yes.
No.
After this game.
No.
And also, what is wrong with? Oh my goodness! Hold on there. Forgot to do something.
All right. While he's doing a couple things, I'm gonna throw this one name out here, and it's a long shot, but he's been getting a lot of play. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, and he's with my team,
the Chiefs.
And who's going into this year? Who was the hottest quarterback going into this year? Or who's the second hottest quarterback? Who's the next hottest quarterback not named Lamar Jackson in the NFL right now? Okay. What about Eric Bieniemy?
No.
Why not?
Good player. Don't see him as head coach yet.
But look, he's the offensive coordinator. He's for the Chiefs for the last couple years. Okay.
Well, the last offensive coordinator left, won a Super Bowl, right? So is that what you're thinking?
No, because the last off coordinator left, got stuck with Mitchell Trubisky. Okay.
Oh wait, I thought Icky was the quarterback's coach, and I thought the offensive coordinator went to Philly and won a Super Bowl.
No. So Doug Peterson went there and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Then was replaced by Nagy.
Nagy, you got me. Okay.
So Nagy went to Chicago and got stuck with Trubisky.
Right. Which to all you New York Giant fans, I was screaming that the Chicago Bears should have traded for Eli Manning. That would have saved their season. They would have messed up the NFC and the playoff picture that we see today.
Right. So now, why not Eric Bieniemy with Baker Mayfield?
Don't see it.
Well, I'll be surprised if he leaves. That's another Andy Reid getting coaches under Andy Reid, offensive coordinators are getting hired. Next man up.
To me, that seems like a reach. You know what? Let's look up his history real quick.
I don't want him to go. I looked up a little bit about him. All right. Offensive coordinator since 2008 with the Chiefs. All right. That's the only team he's coached.
Eric Bieniemy, Wikipedia.
He went to Colorado. Coaching.
Yeah, career. I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Eric M. Bieniemy Jr., offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's a running back.
Player, he was a good player, mind you. Philadelphia Eagles, Cincinnati Bengals, and Chargers. And as a coach, okay.
I got it right here. He's a running back. He was
Colorado running backs coach, UCLA running backs coach, Minnesota Vikings running back coach, offensive coordinator at Colorado. When if I'm not mistaken, they went to the spread offense. Then the Kansas City running backs coach 4 years, and then last year, this season,
2018
coordinator.
Yep, in 2019.
I don't know. He's never been a head coach. Anyway,
did Doug Peterson ever become a head coach? Has Nagy ever become a head coach? Maybe you don't need a never been a head coach type of person. Doug Peterson never been a head coach before he went to
Doug Peterson, Calvary Baptist Academy head coach, Philadelphia Eagles offensive quality control coordinator. Then he went to the quarterbacks coach at Philadelphia. Then he was the offensive coordinator for 2 years. Then went back to Philly. So he got some head coaching experience. Then went back to the NFL. after playing. Then went to Kansas City for 2 years, and then Philly said, "No, we want that dude back."
Well, he went with Andy. Andy left, and he took Andy went with him. So,
right.
But look, to me, if you don't go with legendary and you don't want to go that kind of route, you're gonna get new GM. That GM is gonna bring somebody fresh. In today's NFL, you like the Lamars and the Mahomes and the Mayfields. You know, I'm thinking, maybe they go that route. But let's get to a different team. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this team.
Okay, before you get there, hold on one second. For all of you guys listening out on the Joey Two Wallets in the Car podcast, I just want to say thank you for listening for the first part of the show. You can catch the rest of us on YouTube for the rest of the episode. Have a blessed new year. It is the new year. 2020 should be y'all year because it's definitely going to be mine and Big Chief Daddy's as we move forward with our shows. Shows, mind you, because we got more than one. I'll school you later on that. Holla at me. Let me break out your phones.
So,
go ahead.
So let's talk about you. Talk about your Titans. You talk about your Cardinals. I'll talk about my Chiefs. The next 10 years, I just want to see this play at least one Super Bowl. Because I want to be that. I want to celebrate my team as one. Now we got Mahomes. Possibly could be another 2-time MVP if he. Maybe, I don't know. Kind of hard to say. I don't know if they. I know you're shaking your head because Lamar. You think Lamar sold this up, but if he gets beat, and you knock him out, say your Titans knock out the Patriots. And then your Titans knock out
Kansas City.
No, then you're the 6th seed. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, we go to Baltimore.
Then you knock out Baltimore.
And then we will beat Lamar Jackson.
No, so if he loses, and say the Chiefs Mahomes gets to the Super Bowl, when do they actually vote for this damn MVP? Because the night before the MVP for Super Bowl, the MVP award goes out. So the playoffs got to matter, right? If Lamar Jackson is one and done in the playoffs,
I believe the MVP award is a seasonal award, not postseason award.
But when do they vote it? Because they don't give it out till after the night before the Super Bowl.
Well, I think they've already voted on it. I just think they keep it hush hush for now.
So,
and if you go by the season, okay. Here's what grinds my gears just really quickly. This should be the best quarterback award, not the MVP award.
Correct.
Okay. And then they should do a most valuable player for somebody who's actually the most valuable player to their team. Like, for an example, the most valuable player to their team is Russell Wilson.
Okay, look. So let's put an example of this. Ready?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna take a team. All right, and if they had a thing, he's retired now, right? But if you look at it now, the most valuable player for the New England Patriots is sitting on his couch because they ain't got no tight end. It's Rob Gronkowski. It would not.
So you think Rob Gronkowski would solve all their problems if he didn't retire?
I do. When it comes to the offense, it does. When it comes to the offense, yes. When it comes to offense, I don't know about defense, but when it comes to offense, Rob Gronkowski, if his tight end, because they have no tight end, they got nobody's catching in balls from tight end. Edelman can't be himself because he ain't got that security blanket with tight end with Rob Gronkowski. Take Travis Kelce. You take Travis Kelce out of the Chiefs offense, you got Hill, but I'm about to say, look, man, if it wasn't for damn Kareem Hunt, I'd have been the MVP for the Chiefs because we ain't got no running game anymore. Now it started this last couple games, so maybe with Damian Williams. So that's what I'm saying. So like your valuable player is not always your quarterback. That's basically what I'm trying to long and short of it.
No, I get you, but at the same time, has to be somebody who's actually in the league.
Okay, so all right, take Mark Ingram out of the Baltimore Ravens.
They would still have two other running backs and nobody knows their name.
Is multiple, but okay. So take somebody out. Name a player. Let's okay. Take Derrick Henry out of the Titans then.
We
Derrick
have D.D. Lewis. We have a
but
couple other
Derrick
guys.
okay, but Derrick Henry is your MVP. You can't say D.D.
Yes,
Lewis.
he's our MVP for our team. But if you take him off the team, they become a spread offense team.
But you have no MVP. There's no MVP. Derrick Henry could be MVP of the league this year. He led the team in rushing.
He led the league in rushing. He led the league in rushing touchdowns.
Right. So I'm saying is that's what I'm trying to tell you is this. Is just because you're a quarterback doesn't mean you're an MVP.
Okay.
I'm tired of always the MVP is always going to a quarterback.
I agree, and that's what grinds my gears. But this year's most valuable player. Okay, if you take all the playoff teams, which is basically what we're essentially saying, if you take one person off this team, they're trash, right? That's what makes them the most valuable player, right?
They're not trash. I mean, they're not the Cincinnati Bengals, but I mean, I'm just saying
if you take Russell Wilson away from Seattle, that is a 3-win football team that hustles a lot.
Okay.
If you take Tom Brady off of the Patriots, they're still in the postseason.
Okay. You take Derrick Henry out of the Tennessee Titans. Are they the 6th seed?
No, but we're probably a 6-7 win team.
All right.
We're talking 4 wins.
I know we're talking 4 wins. We're talking, but I'm just saying how much of a value. It's called valuable player. It's not called. That's what I'm getting at. It's that it should just be most outstanding player.
Okay, that's my case in point.
Okay.
The most valuable player this year is Russell Wilson.
Right.
Okay, though to me, the coach of the year, Doug Peterson. But I take that. I'm sorry, not Doug Peterson. Mike Tomlin.
If he would have made the playoffs, I would say yes. But maybe Mike Vrabel with what he did with Ryan Tannehill, and you guys get into the playoffs, might get that.
But if you look at Tennessee's roster, they're full of talent. If you look at the Steelers roster, they had a third-string quarterback, and they didn't get in the postseason only because Tennessee won.
I get that. Well, they also lost. So
yeah, they lost.
They lost to RG3. Okay.
Okay, and what makes you think? Notice I didn't say the most valuable player was Lamar Jackson. Because if you take Lamar Jackson off that team and you run RG3 through that offense, that team's winning at least 8-9 games.
Okay, so that team probably gets the 4th seed, right? Look. Notice I didn't say Mahomes was going to get most valuable player, right? Because he got injured. Matthew Moore came in. Matt Moore did pretty good.
Right, which I believe started you on the argument saying, well, is it the system or is it the quarterback?
Right. So, you know what I mean? That's why, to me, Tom Brady's not the MVP because Matt Castle did pretty good when he was the quarterback. It's a system.
Right. That's my point for him. If you take Josh McDaniels off of New England, they're trash, including Tom Brady.
Switch. So anyway, next in the decade, I want to see at least another MVP for Mahomes, but I also want to see at least one Super Bowl appearance, maybe this year. And I would love the fact that now I'm in Florida, so I'll put this out there.
Okay.
The next 2 Super Bowls. This year's in Miami. Next year's in Tampa.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go to one of those games with the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. We shall see. I mean, get me wrong, the Pro Bowl's in Orlando. I can go see him. I don't want to see Mahomes in the Pro Bowl this year. Because if I don't see him in the Pro Bowl this year, that means he's in Miami, and I'll go drive a little bit down to go to Miami and go watch him. Now I ain't going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to the game out. I ain't a rich man, but
in the next 10 years, I want to see Cleveland hire Jim Harbaugh, because that to me that it doesn't make sense for any other coach other than Jim Harbaugh to be in Cleveland. His attitude fits that city. That city needs a competent GM and coach. He can do both. Or, just like you said, we could actually combine what we just said. Bill Cowher up in there GM, and then he hires Jim Harbaugh. Problem solved.
All right.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I thought maybe you were going to talk about how the Seattle Seahawks and Tennessee Titans have a lot of things in common. They both missed winning and going into the playoffs or winning the Super Bowl by this much.
Yeah, but see, my Titans, that was 20 years ago, and that was a blatant pass interference call that they still haven't called. I'm still waiting for that flag. Along with the Saints flag from last year.
Don't get me started with the pass interference stuff, because they should have got defensive holding or pass interference on the Niners, and
that's not just it.
Right. I'm talking, but you're talking about I thought you were talking about 20 years ago with Tennessee.
That was 20 years ago, man.
Right. But I'm talking about this past week. That was I just thought it was funny because I wanted to do a side by side and be like, look at this much. What ball's closer? Tennessee? Was that Dyson? or the dude from Seattle? Which one looked more in? Which one was that much more in going in? I honestly thought from an angle, I thought originally that the dude from Seattle got in. It's all right. I mean, talk about what messed everything up. Talk about a screw. That would have been everything would have went through Green Bay.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everything would have went through Green Bay, but at the same time, Green Bay's losing their first game. I'm just saying. I'm going to tell you right now, when the 49ers get beat in the NFC Championship game to the Saints, and when the Buffalo Bills get beat in their house to the Titans, that's going to be a great Super Bowl.
All right.
And that was one hell of a game, the Saints versus Titans, and I would love to watch it. Every playoff game, I want my get back. I want to get back New England for this game, for the revenge for getting a 50 burger on us in the playoffs a few years ago. Okay, when Marcus Mariota was a quarterback. Okay, the second round. That rivalry between Tennessee and Baltimore, people don't see it. Like Eddie George ran through the AFC to get to the Super Bowl. Ran. They had a quarterback in Steve McNair who had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 touchdowns and 6 picks on the way to the Super Bowl against the Rams. Ryan Tannehill, all he has to do is be what he's been the last 5 weeks. If he does not turn over the ball and Derrick Henry gets 19 to 25 carries, there is no AFC team that has one player as big, as physical as Derrick Henry. If we be who we are, every single team in the NFC will be afraid.
Okay. Well, look. I mean, do I want to play? I don't want to play Tennessee. In fact, I don't want to play the AFC South. Okay, because the AFC South this year has a number, and for some god dang reason, Tennessee has my number every year. Now you're getting me heated. I don't like Henry.
You shouldn't.
Just when I think that You guys have a decent sized quarterback that's not Mariota. Now here comes Tannehill beating us at home, which cost us, which the 3 games in the AFC South that we lost. The Texans, the Colts, and Titans. If we win one of those games,
You have the first seed.
I got the first seed in the NFL. We tie with Baltimore because we beat Baltimore. Not
You
grand.
beat the Jags.
No. But
Wait, you guys beat the Jags?
I know we beat the Jags. That's the very first game of the year. But I'm just saying is that don't give me that Jags. Come on.
You messed up the Jaguars season. You guys got Tom Coughlin fired.
Right. That's fine. Why? I don't know how we didn't get Doug Marrone fired, but that's different. That's another day.
You know what? That's actually not another day. We was just talking about that. I'm actually not surprised that they kept him.
Well, look, I'm surprised because I figured they want a clean slate, get it all cleaned up. When you do fire your front office and you fire, that means you got to. What's the expression? It rolls downhill.
Yes.
So you fire your top and then you clean the house. I'm a clean house type of guy. But I own the team. Mm-hmm. I'm cleaning the house from top to bottom. Right?
Okay.
Just like I said. So in the next, so real quick, let me wrap up on this in this decade thing. I want the Chiefs to at least in the next 10 years make an appearance. Please make an appearance in the Super Bowl. An appearance. I'm not saying championship now because everybody wants a championship. I want to see my team in the last game of the year. If I go to other sports, all right.
Dodgers.
The Dodgers got to win a World Series in this decade. Okay, I'm tired. It's been 88.
No, and you know what? I'm with you on the same train, except I want to see Oakland, who seemingly gets to the postseason every other year to every year, get to the World Series. So you know what? I want to see your blue versus my yellow and green any day. That's the World Series I want to see in the next 10 years.
The next one is this. A team in LA. The Clips City.
Oh, you mean your Clippers?
My Clippers. Yes, my Clippers. I want to hang a banner in that new arena. Okay. In that new arena in Inglewood. It's time to hang a banner. We're going to get out of the Lakers saddle. We're done with the Lakers. We're going to prove it now the last 2 games that we beat the Lakers.
No, y'all didn't beat them. Y'all beat the brakes off of them.
Got a better bench.
Better team.
And a better coach.
Yes, way better coach. That's
and what's the best part about it also?
Y'all the better assistant coach.
No, you also want to hear something? You don't hear nothing about Steve Ballmer. Our owner is great. You just see him cheering like a cheering. But you don't have that drama like they do with the Bus family. Right? So
Right. But in their defense, when Big Bus was alive, they didn't have all that drama. The only time you heard about Big Bus is when he was flying to a city and said, "Hey, come play with us, man. Come play with us.
It's some money. Come play with me." So, I'm saying thank you for getting me hooked on Skip and Shannon. So, if you listen to this recent episode, I agree with Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp agrees with me. Jerry need to fire Jerry.
Not gonna happen.
I know it's not gonna happen, but Jerry need to fire Jerry.
Not as a general manager, he doesn't.
Yeah, he do.
Okay. Because the team is soft on the field, that's not his fault. That's Jason Garrett's fault.
Jason. See, this is going to be a disagree. That's why I agree with Shannon. When he said Garrett didn't give Dak Zeke all that money.
Yeah. But Jason Garrett is the reason why that they were lackadaisical throughout the season, through half the season.
But Jason Garrett need to go anyway. Jerry Jones is a dinosaur.
Oh, okay. So he needs to go anyway. But let me get this straight. If he would have fired him 6 years ago, like everybody thought, and then they were good now, you wouldn't be having this argument.
Yes, I would. Because I still agree when they said that he likes to be in the spotlight. He agrees to be in the Jerry wants to be in the spotlight. Jerry Jones wants to be in the spotlight. I agree with that. Okay. That's why he's always on the TV. You see him always on they pan onto the TV. That's why he holds a press. What owner holds a press conference before they get to play with the players?
Jerry Jones.
Right. Jerry Jones.
No, okay, let me ask you this question. Out of all the owners in the league, who makes the most money?
I get it, but don't need.
Oh, okay, Jerry Jones. So he's not doing something wrong.
Look, you need to be quiet. You hear Stan Kroenke? Like they said on the channel. Stan Kroenke don't talk. I'll tell you another one. Clark Hunt don't talk. The guys that own Pittsburgh don't talk. Okay. So I'm just Daniel Snyder hadn't talked. Have you heard of Daniel Snyder? I mean, a few years ago you heard a lot from Daniel Snyder. When's the last time you heard Daniel Snyder?
Getting called out by the fellow Native Americans who shut him up.
So Daniel Snyder don't talk anymore. So I don't know. If that was somebody else, okay, and that wasn't Jerry. Okay. But say Jerry was a GM to some other owner. Okay. Would Jerry Jones get fired?
Yes.
But
here's the catch. He's the general manager, the president, and the owner.
I understand that, but I'm just saying if he was just the general manager and not the owner, he needs to take his owner. The owner of him needs to hire. Put it this way: if his son was a general manager, I would have fired his son.
I wouldn't fire Jerry Jones because of the talent on the field. It's not his fault that they're soft.
Okay, we'll see. Because guess what? Jason Garrett ain't getting fired.
He's getting fired.
He's not getting fired.
You know why he hasn't got fired yet?
Yes, because he was under contract till the 34 days left on his contract.
Look at the field. His contract expires in days. They're not renegotiating. They're sitting there having a conversation saying, well, we're not going to part ways. We don't have to re-sign him. His contract is up.
I understand his contract. He got 13 days left on the contract. He got 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay, I get that.
Why would you continue to wait if you were going to re-sign him?
But this is Black Monday.
Why fire him on Black Monday?
Because you fire everybody on Black Monday. That's the best part of the off season. Once the season ends, before the playoffs start.
I know that's your favorite part. It's your favorite part.
My favorite part. Seeing who's gonna join people on the unemployment line.
Okay. I will say it like this. If you got a guy and he's got 14 days to live and he's on life support, why put on life support? Just give him 14 days.
Just pull the plug, man. Pull him out of his misery.
He's on life support. You ain't got to pull him like he's going to die in 14 days.
Pull the plug. Just pull the plug. Disconnect. Just disconnect. Pull the plug. He doesn't need. Why put him in? Why dangle it in dangling? Because guess what? They look pretty good against Washington, didn't they?
Oh, the worst team in that division?
Just saying he looked good. What if he gets a mulligan?
Okay, hold on. But they look pretty good 8 times this year.
What if he gets a mulligan? They're 8 and okay. They went 2-6. They're 8-8. So what if he gives them one more? No, they were 8-8.
Oh yeah, that's right. So they were 8-8. They looked good 8 times this year, and 5 out of the 8 losses they shouldn't have lost.
So okay, so 8-8. You 5 out of the 8 losses they shouldn't have lost. So that would have
But
put them
that's
where?
not due to the talent that's on the field. That's due to the lack of coaching by the head coach.
What if he says though, I'm gonna give you one more shot at this because we
What
got
happened?
talent? It's bad enough you're gonna have to franchise your quarterback.
Look, I've been saying it
You're
for a
gonna
long time. If you say that, here is $20 to $23 million fully guaranteed for 4 years,
they're gonna tag him.
and he doesn't take it,
They're gonna tag
honestly,
him.
I wouldn't risk it, but I'm going to say it right now. There is 3 quarterbacks who would be better in Dallas with the skill set that is there better than Dak. Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater, and possibly Marcus Mariota. All 3 of those quarterbacks will do better in Dallas just with the skill set that is there than Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott needs to say, hold on. You know why Dallas didn't sign him? Because Dallas is looking at the free agency pool right now. There is 8 quarterbacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are former Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota, Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater.
Philip ain't leaving.
I was looking at the list earlier.
Philip ain't leaving LA.
He didn't want to go to LA.
Philip ain't leaving LA. He ain't leaving the Chargers organization.
He wants to go to Indianapolis.
He's gonna retire, Charger.
There's a rumor he wants to go to Indianapolis.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he retires.
That fits Frank Wright.
I get it. I think he retires.
He's not going to retire. Don't see him going back to San Diego. And then
That's
guess what?
He's going to go to San Diego. He's going to stay in LA.
You know what I mean. And then guess what? Phillip Rivers takes his formerly San Diego, now LA behind, back with Frank Wright in Indianapolis to see if what? They can win a division, if they can win a ring.
Okay.
But I don't see the Colts saying, okay, Jacoby, thanks for everything you've done. Bye. I think Jacoby Brissett is a starter in this league. And that defense went through a lot of injuries this year, which is honestly the reason why they didn't win. Jacoby Brissett's numbers look good. When have you ever said, oh, Jacoby played horrible in that game? You did not hear that once this year.
But you can't go by the numbers.
With Jacoby Brissett, yes, you absolutely can.
Numbers don't mean anything. If the numbers, why did Winston the way he Winston is?
If you go by his quarterback numbers, they look good. If you go by the win-loss, you're saying it doesn't make sense. But then you look at the overall season and say, oh, the defense was down nearly the whole year.
Okay, but look at Dak. Dak's numbers are good.
Yeah. And the defense was nearly hurt all this year, and his offensive line fluctuated up and down. And Zeke got his money and said, shoot, I'm going to run like this.
Oh, Zeke got his money. It's the curse of the money. You pay him, they're going to stop playing. It's funny how that works.
He's Todd Gurley all over again, except he didn't get hurt.
Okay. But, so. All right. So who are you taking this weekend?
Okay.
We know you're taking the Titans.
I'm taking Buffalo to be the team that upsets, because there's one upset every wild card game. The Titans beat New England in New England is not an upset. Titans are more talented. They're more healthy. They have more. They're just happen to be in New England. All that means is going to be a 27-24 game. The Tennessee Titans win on a field goal. And Derrick Henry runs for 150 plus yards.
All right. And you're taking
Deshaun Watson has 2+ fumbles, 2 or more fumbles to lose the game against Buffalo in a 17-13 game.
All right. I'm taking the Texans. I think the Texans are going to win. I think it's going to be um like 27-24. I just think that might just be too much Watson for that Buffalo Bills defense, and Allen is still kind of young in that in the playoff format. So that's what I'm taking, and yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna go with the Tennessee. I don't. I think they're gonna run on that beast that you got. That beast that you have right there. He's gonna use his thighs, and he's gonna keep going, and he's gonna beast up. And with the lack of weapons Brady has, um, it is to note that the Patriots needed the bye more than the Chiefs did. Okay,
Yeah.
because I think the Chiefs getting the bye for the Chiefs, it might have slowed them down just a little bit because that defense was playing balls out. Okay, in fact, the way this defense is would have probably gave Tennessee a rougher match, a rougher the way the defense played the last few games. It probably would have been a rougher. They're a totally different team than the last time Tennessee beat them. When Tennessee beat them a while back, they're different. But that being said, though, I got it. I'm gonna say it's gonna be like kind of more of a Euro type of game. I'm thinking more like 17-10. Little close for I'm gonna take the Titans on that one. And I noticed the fact that they had the AFC games on Saturday, and then they took the NFC games on Sunday
Yeah. No,
instead of 1-1. I figured they would do 1-1, right? So we go to Sunday's game. You got Minnesota and New Orleans. Look, man. I hope they fix the scoreboard in the dome because they're gonna light it up. Drew Brees is gonna go off, right? Kirk Cousins, Kirk, Kirk, Kirk Cousins,
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is not the answer in Minnesota.
So Captain Kirk, you say Captain Kirk's going down.
Captain Kirk is going down.
Okay.
Air Breeze, 35-14. It's gonna be a light them up game for the Saints.
That's all you got? 35-14?
Well, yeah, I mean, they might be a little rusty.
No, I was thinking 42-35. Or no, 42-38.
Yeah, that's what you got. I got 35. I think the Minnesota's gonna score 14 points. That's what I'm saying.
I got Minnesota scoring 38 points.
And they winning?
No, they're losing to the Saints because they're going to put up 42.
And as far as the Seattle
Packer game.
Oh, it's the next game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Seattle and Eagles. It's Seattle, man. I mean, okay? Look, they both hurt. They both injured. And if Pete Carroll gets another delayed game on the 1 yard line, I'm calling for his job. Because if you don't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, he had learned his lesson before. Should have gave the ball to Marshawn Lynch before they got the delayed game in the huddle. Eagles are beat up.
Right. I want to show you this nonsense.
Real quick. Let me give you my score. I'm gonna give you my score. It's gonna be 28-24 Seattle.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You got both of them scoring way more points than I even thought for both of them. All right. I just want to show you this nonsense. All right. You see that?
Yeah, I see that. Who wrote that?
This guy on the Undisputed page.
William. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. This dude is either the best Eagle fan in the world or he is delusional and on cocaine. Okay? Or heroin or something. Because he got Seattle losing. Then he's got Eagles beating San Fran. And then going to the Super Bowl.
That's just an Eagle fan.
But
That's just an Eagle fan. That's an Eagle fan. That ain't nothing.
I'm sorry. When dudes are on drugs, I gotta call them out.
That's an Eagle fan, man. That's all it is. That's an
Now
Eagle fan.
these
I'll
two teams.
I'll do that right now. I'll do that now. If Casey go all the way to the Super Bowl, and I'll even have KC beating Tennessee, and I'll say Tennessee loses to KC by 3 touchdowns. That's because that's just
Okay,
me.
look, I'm a Titans fan, but I actually have merit as to the reason why Titans can get to the Super Bowl. There's nothing that explains in this picture that Philly can get to the Super Bowl having more than 20 players injured.
Of course
Oh
not.
wait,
But that's just a fan being a fan. That's just
no,
someone
that's
saying,
cocaine. That's drugs.
"Oh man, don't be putting that on somebody. Don't be putting that on anybody, man. Come on."
Okay, now it's funny that you got the score 28-24. I'm surprised you went that high. Philly is good at one thing: getting to the quarterback. I don't believe in Wentz being like the greatest quarterback since sliced bread. I don't believe he's the number one quarterback in the league like everybody else thinks he is. So I'm not on that train at
Are you
all.
sure? You gonna call him walk it to him?
I'm not going to call him walk it to him, but he could skip every now and then. Hear me
Yeah.
out. These are two teams that play like AFC teams. So I'm going to give you an real AFC score. You're not going to believe me. 15-9. Seattle.
To close out the weekend of snoozer.
No. A Philadelphia team that's giving it all they got to get Russell on his back. And Russell Williams says, okay, well, if they got me the first half, I'm going to dink and dunk my way to the next round on this pass rush. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But guess what? Russell ain't got nobody to throw to either, so there's going to be a couple drops in there. And they're playing in Philly. Philly's one of the most annoying places to play. So, 15-9, and it's going to be a hard-hitting fest.
All right. All right. So
Okay,
why? So why we got this? I'm gonna ask you who you got in a title game, national title game.
I can't knock anybody that looks like he's from California. Okay. Lawrence looked like he just got off the beach, off the nearest big wave. He's gonna run red shot.
Look, man.
Barrows is overrated. All right, I said it. I said it. I said it.
Yeah.
He gonna have about five. He gonna have about 4-5 touchdowns, but it's not gonna be anything like Lawrence. He's gonna have like 6 or 7. Lawrence
Burrow,
gonna
Joe Burrow is still throwing touchdowns right now as we speak.
the next Cincinnati Bengals quarterback in a spread offense in a division where you cannot win playing that way. That look, the simple fact that the Bengals kept Zach, that coach, that pimple faced soda drinking fool, he is going to totally change the Cincinnati Bengals. They have one of the most underrated running backs in the league. Their offensive line is underrated. But guess what? They don't have targets to throw to. They're going to trade AJ Green in the offseason. They're going to get back in the second or first round. They're going to get offensive line to offensive wide receiver talent, and they are going to throw the ball all over the field.
Well, I'm gonna take LSU. I'm gonna take LSU.
What?
Yep, I'm gonna take LSU
What?
over to win the national championship over Clemson.
Xavier, your uncle is thinking crazy again. Your uncle is thinking crazy. Stay right there.
I
I
ain't,
got the phone up. Don't put
I
the,
ain't,
I'm
I ain't,
still recording. I'll get you some of it. Tanner.
LSU gonna win 42, 32. Win by 10. They favored by 5.
Score don't matter. Somebody's getting 45. Whoever gets to 45 first wins.
42, 32, LSU. Hey, you want to know something, though? Guess what? I bet you a Tiger is national champion.
I'll give you that one.
What color that Tiger going to be? Purple and yellow or your white?
Orange. You have to go orange.
I know a Tiger, you're orange, but yo.
Huh?
Anyway. We are going to end it right there, folks. I hope you enjoyed this decade show, little comedy act / little game preview at the end of it.
With a little bit of picks here and there.
Yeah, a little bit of picks. Also, so we gotta look out for in the car with Joey 2 wallets. We got the Coastal Bros. We have the Bromigos. We have There Goes a No Hitter, a bunch of other podcasts, YouTube channels. Like us on Facebook, Sports Daddy TV. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Daddy TV. We'll be back shortly. We hoping to enjoy the decade. A lot of things coming around for this podcast and for this show. Things I'm working on right now, so we will hopefully make it stronger and bigger and better. And
we, as a tandem and unit, are building a network. We start out with one show. Now we got 4 shows. 4 shows.
Oh, shows. And if we get some other stuff, we will have other little things. Like I said, other things working in the works. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Other than that, thanks for listening and watching, and we will talk to you later. Say bye, X.
Bye.